with this intense rainfall, not only the amount of rainfall, but the intensity of it is, we're going to see what are normally dry creeks most of the year turn into raging rivers of mud and debris and rocks and trees. We're hoping that the weather system is gentle on us, but I fear that it won't be and that we're going to see significant damage over the next 24 hours.
And we've already seen significant damage over the previous 24 hours for sure. It's the top of the hour. This is Weather Center Live. I'm meteorologist Chris Warren.
And I'm meteorologist Liana Brackett. Those deadly and destructive mudslides continue across Southern California. This as heavy rain continues to soak burn-scarred areas of the state. In Montecito, aerial video showing the massive mud flow stretching across Highway 101. This is what you're looking at right now. We did just speak to the Santa Barbara Fire Department, Amber Anderson, and she did say that that whole stretch right there is completely closed due to that mudslide. Unfortunately, we're seeing closures, road closures across the region due to these mudslides. We also have another situation in Burbank that we'll touch on in just a moment. Here's what we know this hour. 6 people have died in the flooding and mudslides in California. First responders are going through the communities hit hard by the mudslides, searching for missing people. A 14-year-old girl was pulled from a house that was swept up in the mudslides. And at Los Angeles International Airport, flooding in Terminal 2. Arriving passengers are being sent to Bradley International Terminal. So let's go ahead and get a closer look at the situation in California right now with Chris.
And Liana, you know, if you're watching us in the summer, in the fall, and early winter, we've been covering the extensive fires burning in Southern California. And once the fires are out, the residents likely looking up at the burned hillsides and saying, one day this could be trouble. And this is that day. All throughout Southern California, with this very heavy rain coming into those areas with the burn scars, where there's no more vegetation, there's ash, there's burned earth, there's exposed earth. When the heavy rain comes in, it just washes away. The heavy rain will come down, it'll mix with the ash. If there's any ash left, it'll mix with the sand, create mud and the earth, and it will flow downhill. And unfortunately, that's what we're seeing. Right now, Santa Barbara County, the rain is still in the mountains, but the big slug of moisture that we saw earlier is not with us anymore. Unfortunately, it's right here. Another slug of moisture is getting ready to move into Ventura and Los Angeles counties. And while not the biggest fires we've seen, there have been some very large fires here across Southern California. So with that in mind, parts of Santa Barbara and Ventura counties, still flash flood warnings in effect. And here around Burbank and the San Bernardino Mountains, also seeing some of the very heavy rain right now. And the higher elevations are also seeing snow as well. And you see the 2 to 3 inch range here, the dark green. Notice the orientation of this. They're like long little areas. You see that going like this? That's because that's the direction of the mountains. So you can imagine the mountain peaks would be right about here. The south to southwesterly flow comes up, extra lift from the mountains, coming down rain here on the south and southwest facing slopes. That's why you have these long areas of heavier rain. And unfortunately, that goes right along with in the areas that have already been burned, which is, and we have seen, the recipe for disaster. This all associated with Winter Storm Hunter. Let's get the very latest on what's going to happen after we see it slam Southern California with Dr. Erica Navarro.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. A lot of areas here across the U.S. going to be seeing impacts from this system as we head through this week and into this weekend. This is a very potent storm that we're watching models projecting to move across the eastern U.S. and bring snow, potentially rain, and an area of ice to many areas here across the Mississippi Valley and then to the northeast by this weekend. We're going to have this dip in the jet stream that's moving off to the east, and there are 2 different disturbances that are embedded within that, one to the north and one a little bit farther south. Starting with the one to the north, this is likely going to be starting by tomorrow, heading into Thursday and Friday. We could be seeing some significant wind in association with this system. Notice how these lines, these white lines, are packed tightly close together, so these winds could get gusty at times, but it's also going to be drawing down a significant significant amount of cold air. So we could be seeing moderate to heavy snow across the northern plains into the Midwest. And then right here in this transition zone between that cold and warmer air off to the east, we could be seeing a significant ice threat forming here from the northeastern part of Arkansas up towards the Great Lakes area. So definitely one to watch and pay attention to. This is likely going to be now Friday evening into Friday night. Notice the snow and ice remaining now through the Ohio Valley and spreading off to the northeast. A lot of areas, a lot of airports, and a lot of roads could be impacted by this. So please make sure you keep this in mind before you make your plans this weekend and head out, because again, this could be a very impactful storm, at least in terms of travel. Now, the models still are disagreeing with where exactly the heaviest band of snow is setting up, but right now it looks like we could be seeing a moderate to heavy band here setting up across the Great Lakes area. So it could be at least 8 inches, maybe more, Liana, of snow.
All right. Thanks so much, Dr. Navarro. Something to definitely keep a close eye on in the next couple of days. We're looking live right now at a snow-covered Duluth, Minnesota. And the thing is, you could get several more inches of snow from Winter Storm Hunter, but not nearly as much as what's expected around the Twin Cities. Right now, it's 26 degrees, 30 degrees, but it's feeling more like the teens. So as far as Duluth, Minnesota, tomorrow into Thursday, this is what we can expect. You do have the first shot of rain picking up by 9 p.m. tomorrow. But depending on how those temperatures fluctuate, that can easily change to snow, because shortly thereafter, we're looking at 1 a.m. to 1 p.m. all the way through the next day on Thursday of that snow. And at times it could be some blowing snow because those winds will definitely be kicking. We're talking about winds up to 15 to 25 miles per hour, and they're going to be falling into the teens. Those temperatures are going to be falling into the teens. 3 to 5 inches is still expected across Minneapolis. And this is again from Wednesday night into Thursday. Taking a closer look at Minneapolis, this is a future look at your radar. Winter Storm Hunter starts off with rain once again, starting around 9 p.m. Central Time, but then just out to the west, that's when you start seeing that wintry precipitation heading your way. It gets a little bit closer along I-94 and St. Cloud. You're starting to see more snow by midnight on Thursday morning. And then later, just a few hours later, you can expect pure snow for Minneapolis. As far as how much, a good 3 to 4 inches across the city center, but just southeast of you, Hastings, you're closer to 8 inches of snow, and that's from Wednesday to Thursday. As far as those winds go, again, they will be blowing for the latter half of Thursday. And there you go. You start seeing this wave of wind heading your way. Stay with us. After your local on the 8th, we head back to California with a look at how the massive fires last month are adding to the dangerous and deadly conditions